Coming up next on Motor Mania, it's diesel time in Thunder by the River. Diesel super stocks and more. Stay tuned. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Thunder by the River, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. This is the Smoke Show. We're at Wisner Riverside Park in Wisner, Nebraska. Ted Jones here with you, joined by expert analyst Claude Wood, and in the pit area, bringing us all the action, Doc Riley.
Ted, I love the Pro Stock tractor class. They do have a 10,000-pound limit. These are the heaviest of all the tractor classes that we will see.
And as the Stars and Stripes go waving by, we'll take a look at Gary Porter, the Gang Green, out of Mercer, Missouri, our leadoff puller with the John Deere. Boy, beautiful start, too, with the wheels right up there in the air. He'll set the mark to beat right now at 283 feet. Claude, I don't think that'll cut it.
That will not hold today. This track is in great shape, although you did mention he had a great start. Wheels up just a little bit, and that was a nice-looking run.
Well, let's look at Jeff Ummel right now with the bag from Reeds, Missouri, and see if he can match that 283 feet. It's also a John Deere.
It is, and this class also, you can have one turbocharger and one pressure stage. No intercoolers are allowed.
Well, he didn't hit the 283 feet, only 270 feet, so I don't know. I may have been a little premature there in saying that Gary Porter's time would not hold. Next up will be Jim Corey, the Dearly Devoted, out of Rockwell City, Iowa.
And you can see the tractor backing up there, and the job of the hooker is to place that hook that hooks the chain from the sled onto the tractor. And also there is a safety switch that will shut off the engine should there be a problem. Also, there is a 20-inch drawbar height, and Ted, that is very important in this class.
Well, we'll see if the Dearly Devoted, get it, John Deere, Dearly Devoted, cute name of Jim Corey's John Deere tractor, can take the lead. Hey, he's got a good one going, Claude.
And he ran straight and true right down the middle, 292.04. That will be the mark to beat.
Well, let's take another look at how he did that as he takes the lead right here.
And as I said, he's right in the middle of the track, going straight and true right there. Wheels up off the ground, that's okay. That's really what you're looking for, not too far. He's not having to hit the brakes anywhere in that run. That was great.
Our next puller will be Mason Hansen. He calls it the unnatural disaster. It's the John Deere out of Honey Creek, Iowa.
You know, sometimes I wonder about some of these names. It almost gives me an idea. He's had some problems in the past, so hopefully not today.
He'll pull that turbocharger up, let the water come in, and away she goes. Wheels up in the air. This could be a good one, but he's got the wheels turned. Take a look, Claude.
And what that means is he had to touch the brakes right there, and look at the distance. That greatly affected his pull.
Oh, yeah, touching the brakes killed a lot of his momentum off. Watch again now and see what happens as he leaves the line. Immediately, he's starting to pull to one side. He had to hit the brake right there. That started hurting his run.
It really did. I think he hit a spot in the track that just grabbed on that right wheel as we're looking at it and pulled him to that side of the track. Right there he touched down a little bit, but the problem is he's on the brakes.
Well, he had to be on one brake, either that or go out of bounds and be totally disqualified. So even though he doesn't take the lead, his pull will stand at 277 feet. Now here a good look at the hooker as he motions Rick Barrett how to back up his tractor. And by the way, finally, it's not going to be a John Deere, Claude.
No, it's not. This is an International. You know, typically they are red, but he has gone with a white color on this. He does use a red for the roll bar.
Out of Ravenna, Nebraska, Rick Barrett.
And you hear that engine, if you're wondering, it's a 682 cubic inch limit. They can use any size, but they can't go over that.
Wow, he came close, but not enough. 286 feet will not top the 292 set down by Jim Corey. And a reminder, O'Reilly Auto Parts Thunder by the River, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, home of the professional parts people. And by Low Car Performance Products, quality plain and simple. And by MaxBreak, the new revolution in brake controls. On O'Reilly Auto Parts, Motor Mania, you're watching Thunder by the River for Wisner, Nebraska, right here, right in the middle of the diesel super stock category. As you can see, a nice crowd on hand, and you're on board right now with David Yerrick.
And David is driving the dirt-slinging deer. He's out of Rich Hills, Missouri. You mentioned the crowd, almost a capacity crowd on hand, and what a great day. The weather is perfect for tractor pulling.
Oh, yeah, the grandstands are full, some of them flowing over on the grass, and let's go for a ride right now. This is what he sees. Notice the tremendous vibration right there as he starts out, Claude.
And you hear the turbo wind down as he comes up only 187 feet. He had some problems.
Yes, he did. Let's take a look at it now from outside, and you'll see what the crowd saw.
So far, he's going pretty good right in the middle of the track, and he eased the throttle into it, building up the turbo, spooling it up, looking for the black smoke to come out, but right there, I think the turbo went away is what it looks like to me.
I agree with that completely, either that or the water injection. So we'll move on to our next puller, Jim Brackett. He calls it the Hillbilly Binder. It's an International Harvester, properly painted International Harvester red. He's out of Richland, Missouri.
And he is lined up just a little bit to our left of the track, looking for that good place in the track. And this track is really holding today. You know, sometimes the track will go away, sometimes it will get better, but look what happened. It pulled him over to the left, but the distance, 308 feet.
That will be our new leader as he surpasses the 292 previously set by Jim Corey. Let's take another look at it and see how he did it. As you pointed out, off to one side of the track, he found the sweet spot, Claude.
He really did. He started off on that left side and he remained there. Toward the end of the pull, it looks like that the track pulled him over toward that out-of-bounds line, but he did not go out.
Well, Jim, that looked like an outstanding pass right there, and you've got the lead in the class. Just tell me about that run.
We had to drop several gears. This track is just tremendous on how much horsepower it's taken out here today. And some of these tractors, quite honestly, don't have a gear low enough for this track. But luckily we had one that fitted, so we had a good pass.
So that's going to be the secret to doing it, enough horsepower and changing gear. Travis Doman, he calls it the Hurricane Alice. It's formerly an Alice Chalmers tractor, but they were bought out by another company.
They were, Ted. They were bought by the Agriculture Company is what they called it. And he mentioned something in that interview just a minute ago, Jim did, about trying to figure out the track, and that is going to be the key today. This track is in amazing shape, though.
Well, Travis Doman ends up at 295 feet, a respectable pull. Not good enough, though, to take over the lead set up by Jim Brackett. So now Rod Ewing will have a shot at it.
And he calls his tractor the Ramrod. You notice it is a John Deere. We'll see how Rod figures out the situation. Does he have a gear low enough to take the lead?
Well, he's moving over to that same side of the track, trying to go right down in the same track set down by Jim Brackett, but it didn't work. He'll settle for 289 feet. Now you're going to be on board again with another John Deere. You can tell there by the green front on it. This is Bryce Van Genderen. He calls it the Geared Green out of Eddyville, Iowa. And there, a good shot of Bryce in the driver's seat.
And you notice he has positioned himself to the left also. The advantage of later pullers, you can go to school on what the previous guys did. If they have some luck with it, you want to follow where they have gone on the track, looking for that traction. But look at this. He's going to the right side.
Indeed he is. Ends up at 303 feet. Had he been able to stay right straight down like Jim Brackett did, he might have surpassed Jim's number of 308 feet. Let's go for a ride, Claude.
This is a great shot right here, and you see all the black smoke coming up. You notice again, he is on that right side of the track, but right in here, that's where the track grabbed him and pulled him to the left. And when you do that, you lose distance.
And that was our final puller, so Jim Brackett will be our winner. Doc is with him.
Well, the third annual Thunder by the River event finds this guy, Jim Becker, right there in victory lane. Congratulations, man. Got to feel good.
Thank you. Thank you. We had a good pass.
What do you think about that class overall? A lot of good tractors in there, and pulling in the heat of the day is a little bit different than pulling at night?
If that track gets any better at night, we're all in trouble because it took all the high horsepower any of us could put together to run out there today.
Let's talk a little bit about a Pro Stock. What sets a Pro Stock apart from the rest of the tractors that we see?
Well, we're only allowed one turbocharger, but we're allowed an unlimited turbocharger so that we can run all the airflow we can run with one turbo.
So what about cubic inches?
680 cubic inch limit.
Well, you guys build a lot of boost and a lot of power.
We tear up lots of parts.
Well, I hope you didn't tear up any parts here. Congratulations on the victory.
Okay, thank you very much.
And let's take a look at the top finishers right here. As you can see, it was fairly close. Now, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to have another class. We call them smokers. You're watching Thunder by the River on O'Reilly Auto Parts Motor Mania from Wisner, Nebraska. Now, before we get back to the pulling, let's check in with Tom McConnell.
I got Frank Como here from MaxBreak. And Frank, there's so much about MaxBreak that is revolutionary. Tell us a little bit about the computer system you guys have. It's a huge system in a little silver box.
That's correct, Tom, and basically all it is it converts your hydraulic pressure, it turns it into an electric current that operates your trailer brakes.
Well, the way I understand it, when you apply your brakes, it actually takes the information off the master cylinder and tells how much braking you're actually using and feeds that information through the computer and then back to your trailer brakes, which integrates the braking systems between both units. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, that is correct. It actually, we can explain this to people all day long, or we do explain it to them all day long, but until they get in a vehicle and feel the difference in our brake controller versus your standard brake controller, you can't even realize the difference.
Well, how is it that you guys solve the problem of jerking? I mean, when you use a MaxBreak brake control unit, it does not jerk. When you apply the brakes, you never have to worry about the whiplash that you get on other brake control units.
Well, what it does is, like you said before, it turns the hydraulic pressure into an electric current. So when you're driving down the road, if you're telling your trucks to stop at 2%, it's going to tell your trailer to stop at 2%. Where your standard brake controllers on the market today, they're a 12-volt system. It's pretty much like a light switch. They off or on. So if you have your brake controller set at 40% and you're driving down the road at 5 miles an hour, it's going to send a 40% signal to your trailer, and that's where you get your jerky stops and your tire skids from.
Well, and you guys pretty well eliminate the tire skids.
That's correct. And there again, it's because it's actually sensing your truck braking needs. If you're going at 2%, it's going to send your trailer 2%.
Well, anything else you can add here about MaxBreak?
Yes, sir. They are available also in an air over electric system. That means we can put them in semi-trucks all the way down to half-ton pickup trucks.
Good enough. Back to you, Ted.
All right, thank you very much, Tom McConnell. A real breakthrough there for anybody that does any towing. Let's get going now with the little green toy quad.
And this will open up the diesel super stock tractors, and we're going to play a little bit on the word stock. The engine must be from a two-wheel drive farm tractor with a 570 cubic inch limit.
Well, Doug Nepper will set the mark to beat at 233 feet, and that's not very impressive after we just had 300-foot pulls. Now, remember, they probably have changed the weights in the sled. They do that for each class. Let's get going now with Bucks Fever, Eugene Williams.
And you mentioned weight. This class has an 8,200-pound weight limit. And you notice on the track, again, Ted, he is set up on our left, but he's grabbing, it's stopping, and he's got problems right there.
Yes, he does. A little bouncing up and down. That's not how you do it, although 267 feet does beat Doug Nepper's time, so he'll be our leader, at least temporarily. Let's look at that run again and study the tractor and what it's going through here. As you see, the wheels are pulling pretty smooth and even. The front end's coming up in the air, and then all of a sudden,
he has problems. You see the weights there, he's got them evenly distributed over the left wheel and the right wheel. But there's something that happens right here where he starts bouncing up and down. He had some problems right there, and it shows up in his distance.
Iowa. So Dale Sykes will be up next. He calls it the naughty by choice out of Iowa.
Some of these names I said before really get to you, you know. I think he may have had some problems before, but this is a great run. He's also on that left side, and he is going straight and true, but he's running out of horsepower right there.
246 feet. So Eugene Williams is our leader at 267 feet, at least thus far. Denny Sykes calls it naughty by nature, also out of Iowa.
Maybe these guys are related or have been talking to each other. Look at that start. He hammered it down pretty fast. Immediately, the front wheels came up in the air and then settled down, so he's got a chance right here.
Well, the front wheel's settling down. I got a feeling, yeah, see, he just flat runs out of horsepower. They said this track is grabbing, and it is grabbing. Sykes at 228 feet, nowhere near the lead. So Dennis Goodwin with the Magnum Force will also be our next puller right here. Let's see if he can get the job done. Notice this class is pretty well being dominated by internationals.
They are, and you saw him pull back there as he was getting hooked up to the sled. The drawbar, also in this class, must be at a 20-inch height.
Wow, he's on a pass here. He keeps going and going and going. And wow, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to pull all the way to the state line. Dennis Goodwin, 347 feet. What does he know that everybody else doesn't know, Claude? Let's look at this run again.
I don't know, but it's very obvious right on the screen. Immediately, he had a great launch, settled into it, wheels coming straight up, and look where he is on the track. He has chosen to go right down the center, and right here, he's got a good run going because the traction and those back wheels have really dug in.
A low gear and lots of horsepower. Now we'll take a break. When we come back, more smoking tractors and some that don't give off smoke. We'll tell you why when we return. O'Reilly Auto Parts Motor Mania is being brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, home of the professional parts people. And by United Specialties, home of the Trendsetter. And by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Now we'll finish up the diesel superstock category. Matt Goodwin, the Intimidator out of Iowa.
And Ted, he is the son of Dennis, who we saw pull a little bit earlier. In fact, Dennis was the new leader at 347 feet, so he's hoping, like father, like son.
Late model tractor, just like his dad drives. Here he goes over 300 feet. 326 feet, not good enough to beat that, but you know what? It's good enough for second place. Now David Anderson with the older model international out of Anderson Farms, he calls that, from Greentop, Missouri, will give it a try.
And he is set up over on the right side of the track as you're facing from the driver's point of view. He works his way over to the middle. A pretty good run going, but only 280 feet. That will not get the job done.
Just not enough horsepower. Notice the cut on the rear tires they're using too. These are specially cut tires just for tractor pulling. As we look at our last puller here, David Henderson, the stray horse.
And you mentioned the cut on the tires. There's no real rule on how that can be. It's up to the individual driver how he wants to cut the tires. You saw him bouncing up and down. He does manage to get 327 feet.
Which is good for second place. He just knocked Matt Goodwin out of second place. Here's the way they finished. Congratulations to Dennis Goodwin, our winner. Look how close it was between second and third. A great pull for the diesel superstock tractors. Now we'll move into the unlimited superstocks. Now you're going to see some that are smokeless here. That's because they burn alcohol instead of diesel. Most interesting. We get things started with a Case International driven by Dave Marino.
And he calls it Show Me Showdown. And these guys, you mentioned alcohol or diesel. It is okay if they want to use an intercooler, they may do so. A good run going here, but I don't think it will be far enough.
Well, 302 feet, not bad, Claude, although I know you're thinking, well, a guy just went 347, but that was a different class. As Elmer Hogg comes up, the Little Temptation out of Kansas.
And just like the diesel superstocks, we have an 8,200-pound weight limit, also a 20-inch drawbar.
You'll notice this is the alcohol class. You don't see that big puff of black smoke from the diesel. 297 feet for Elmer. Good enough for second place, fairly close to the 302. Robert Schroeder will be next, the Cornhusker Deer. Being it's a Cornhusker, it's got to be from Nebraska.
It has to be. He's a veteran. We've seen him around a whole lot. By the way, this class 650 cubic inch limit. Listen to this engine.
283 feet will not be good enough to take the lead away from Dave Marino. So here comes Jim Kinsel, the Mean Moline, also out of Nebraska. Also, it looks like he's an alcohol burner. And a lot of corn, you know, they make a form of alcohol out of corn.
They sure do. Look at this color combination. His weights on the front are painted orange, and his tractor is a gray. Look at those teeth he's painted in there.
Now, teeth didn't help him much. 218 feet. He had some significant engine problems there. You can tell. You can hear. Never really got turned up in the RPMs. Now, here comes Dale Hogg, the Big Temptation, also out of Kansas. He is the brother of Elmer Hogg, who pulled 297 feet. The mark to beat, 302 feet, set up by Dave Marino. Let's see if he's got a shot at it. Another alcohol-powered tractor.
It is obvious by the absence of the diesel smoke. He's over on the left side of the track. Look at it. It's starting to pull him over toward the center. Oh, he lost some distance there.
Yeah, but not before he took the lead and the win. 317 feet beats the 302 by about 15 feet. What a great pull we have with the unlimited super stock tractors. Now let's award our Pinnacle Power Pull. Well, that has to go to Dennis Goodman, the guy that pulled the furthest all day long, an incredible 347.07 feet.
And Ted, we should give some kind of award to the track prep guys here. This track has held together all day long. If anything, it maybe has gotten better. What an awesome facility.
Now, if you'd like more information on the outlaw pulling, check out these websites, especially outlawpulling.com. For information on MaxBreak, go to their website. Next week, the Hub City Grand Prix. Go-karts racing on the streets. You can really dig it. Be sure to join us next week on Riley Auto Parts Motor Mania for something really unusual. But that's why you watch Motor Mania, isn't it? This is Ted Jones for Claude Wood and Doc Riley. So long, everyone.